In a tiny run-down apartment, a small child laments her poor living situation. Jahy is a demoness second in command of the Dark Realm. One day, a magical girl attacks the Dark Realm and shatters a giant mana crystal that governs magical powers. The Dark Realm falls apart and Jahy loses her powers and turns into a child. Jahy vows to gather the shattered parts of the mana crystal and regain her power, but finds herself subjected to poor treatment in the human world. Left with a small crystal that leaves her with a little magic, she is forced to work part-time at the craft pub Mao to make ends meet. She cries how the world is cruel and that she has to serve humans, when she used to command armies in the Dark Realm. During her shift, Jahy runs out of magic and turns back into a child. She becomes worried that the boss will be angry and fire her. The boss discovers Jahy, and Jahy declares her status as second in command of the Dark Realm, expecting the boss to be frightened. But to Jahy's confusion, the boss is not scared and comforts her instead. Using her magic, Jahy attacks the boss to try to take command of the pub. But the boss hugs her and Jahy begins to cry instead. The boss gives Jahy her pay and a raise, and Jahy goes home to eat meat again for the first time. Later, landlady, who is boss's sister, confronts her about paying rent, and Jahy complains about paying rent to a human. Jahy feels her dump of an apartment is not worth the rent, but when landlady threatens to kick her out, Jahy finds the apartment better than a cardboard box next to the river. Jahy attempts to negotiate but is almost thrown out again. Jahy tricks her and is chased by landlady but crashes into the boss. The boss speaks to them and Jahy reluctantly pays her rent. Jahy then finds her necklace with enough power to destroy the human realm is missing and finds that boss had it. Boss gives Jahy back the necklace, and Jahy cries happily, promising to take better care of her necklace. Jahy is sick of her poor life in the human realm after her great life in the Dark Realm. She makes a plan to search for the mana fragments. While searching for fragments, Jahy runs into her former servant Drudge. Drudge has also been gathering mana shards and has recovered a few. Jahy quickly becomes embarrassed of her appearance and her failure to gather shards. The two go to a restaurant and Jahy is shocked at the prices and orders water as she cannot afford anything on the menu. They leave in Drudge's limo and Jahy tells Drudge to drop her off on the side of the road, as Jahy is embarrassed to show Drudge her run-down apartment. The next day, Jahy uses her necklace to search for crystals and stumbles upon Drudge's penthouse apartment. She is quickly jealous of the apartment's comforts and electronics, such as Drudge's cleaning robot. Jahy also finds Drudge has already found several mana crystals and she claims them for herself but is caught by Drudge's security system. Drudge cries and is thankful for Jahy revealing the flaws of her security system. Back home, Jahy cries about her living condition. Jahy makes a trip into the forest to find her first mana crystal, but a crow takes her necklace and she loses her map. She starts to look for the crow, but then it starts to rain, and Jahy sprains her ankle. Hurt on the ground, she is comforted by a chick who has fallen out of its nest and climbs a tree to save the chick. Inside the nest, she finds both her necklace and a huge mana crystal. She is found by landlady, who reveals that Jahy's trip to the forest is next to her apartment. Landlady carries Jahy back home. Jahy replaces the crystal in her necklace with a larger one and it makes Jahy stronger. But boss asks Jahy to leave it at home because it will get in the way of Jahy's work. Jahy persuades boss to let her keep the necklace if Jahy works harder. Jahy works all day and uses the power of the mana crystal to fix problems around the pub. But fixing everything quickly drains the crystal's power and she turns back into a child. The next day, Jahy meets Drudge to show off the big mana crystal. Drudge asks her where she found the crystal, and Jahy makes up a story of being attacked by a monster bird. Drudge is in awe of Jahy's power, and Jahy brags that she exterminated all the monster birds. Drudge is happy that Jahy has stayed cruel and vicious since arriving in the human realm. Jahy then discovers that Drudge has already recovered a truckload of mana crystals. Later, Drudge finds Jahy at the pub before her shift and Jahy brags about owning the pub. Drudge is shocked when boss calls Jahy by her nickname and gives Jahy an order. Drudge finds the food and drink delicious, but Jahy finds out that Drudge ate several days' worth of food that Jahy must pay. Later, Sava the Magnificent appears and runs into Jahy on the street. Sava is also from the Dark Realm and wants to take Jahy's place as second in command and rule the Dark Realm. She has tried many times to eliminate Jahy but is always defeated. Sava sees Jahy petting a dog and plans to attack her. She attempts to use a magic potion that would make her 30 times stronger, but she drops the potion which she spent several months working on. Since the potion is expensive, she tries to lick the ground to recover the potion, but a dog drinks it instead. Sava is defeated by the now big dog. Sava concocts a new plan to turn into Jahy using a pill and ruin her life by acting stupid. Sava turns into Jahy and is confronted by landlady who demands her to pay her rent. After landlady threatens her and Sava as Jahy is shocked and ends up paying Jahy's rent. Defeated, Sava stumbles into Jahy's workplace and orders food but is forced to work instead. She does a good job and makes the customers and the boss happy, failing her mission while Jahy overslept her shift. Meanwhile, Jahy is upset as she is low on funds and is unable to buy food. She heads to the mall to find easy money but ends up spending all her remaining funds on food. The next day, boss finds out Jahy is broke and takes pity on her and pays Jahy early. Walking home, Jahy is confronted by the police who have received reports of suspiciously dressed people walking around at night. Jahy immediately runs away. While looking for mana shards, the policeman keeps interfering and she is detained for suspicious behavior while boss and landlady bail her out. Later, when she is chased again, she is caught by the police since she cannot outrun a bike. Jahy finds out the police are looking for a different suspicious person, who looks like the magical girl who attacked the Dark Realm, reminding Jahy of her defeat. Jahy finds and confronts the magical girl at a nearby park, but the magical girl is instead an old man named Miracle Pippin who the police quickly detain. The next day, landlady arrives to tell Jahy that she and the boss are sick. Jahy sees her and makes fun of humans for having weak constitution, but Jahy catches the cold from landlady and becomes sick. Jahy becomes very upset over being sick because in the Dark Realm only the weak get sick from colds, and she spirals into a depressed state. She wakes up to see the boss and landlady have come to take care of her, which makes Jahy thankful. Immediately, the real magical girl arrives, but she does not recognize Jahy. Jahy attacks her, but the magical girl is too powerful and quickly bats Jahy away. The magical girl demands the crystal for Jahy's safety, still not recognizing her. The magical girl is caught by landlady who calls the magical girl a cosplaying thief. Landlady calls the police and the magical girl is taken away. Saved by landlady, Jahy dreams of beating up the magical girl in her sleep as she rests. Frightened from her encounter with the powerful magical girl, Jahy is worried that her enemy is in the human realm nearby. She puts on a brave face but hides from others when they mention magical girls. Hiding in the trash, Jahy accidentally loses her mana crystal, but luckily the boss was nearby to find the crystal for her. Embarrassed, Jahy leaves and detects another mana crystal in the hands of a human girl. Jahy demands the crystal, but the girl turns out to be the magical girl in civilian form. The magical girl demands Jahy's crystal but falls down an open manhole. She crawls out of the hole, but then she is hit on the head by a potted plant. And Jahy quickly realizes the magical girl is cursed with misfortune. Bleeding from her head wound, the magical girl assures Jahy that she has been trained to endure misfortune. Soon more stuff from a nearby balcony falls on top of the magical girl. Jahy declares victory over the magical girl, but the victory is premature as the magical girl transforms and takes Jahy's crystal. Depressed, Jahy goes to drink at the pub and laments her defeat by the magical girl. She dreams of days when she was powerful in the Dark Realm. Landlady appears and Jahy challenges her to a drinking contest. Jahy drowns herself in her many failures and defeats so far in the human realm, but landlady cheers her up and says she is proud of Jahy. The two become very drunk and happily bond with each other as boss cheers them on. The next day, Jahy and landlady wake up in pub having slept there the night before. Boss shows them footage of the night before and Jahy vows not to have drinking contests anymore. Jahy decides that to defeat the magical girl she needs to be stronger. Boss, who is doing a fitness routine, asks Jahy to be her workout partner and bribes Jahy with food. Jahy accepts but soon finds boss's workout more intense than she thought. Jahy continues to train with boss but finds herself wiped out by the workout. Boss gives Jahy some encouragement and Jahy and the boss begin to find success as they train regularly. Jahy looks forward to defeating the magical girl and the boss is happy to lose some weight. Later, Jahy invites the boss to a gym, but the boss declines as she has hit her fitness goal already. While trying to sleep for the night, Jahy is constantly awakened by her next-door neighbor who is playing loud music at night. Frustrated, Jahy begins to make noise back at her neighbor but finds the neighbor unresponsive as Jahy spends the rest of the night banging pots. In the morning, Jahy confronts her neighbor but is told by the landlady that she has no neighbor next door. She spends the day looking for mana crystals and stumbles upon one found by a grade schooler. The grade schooler makes fun of her and Jahy turns into her larger form, which frightens the kid who runs away. Jahy then discovers that the grade schooler did not have a mana crystal. Continuing her search, Jahy is approached by another grade schooler who offers to help Jahy in her mission to collect mana crystals to defeat the magical girl, and the grade schooler introduces herself as Kokoro. The two spend the day as a team to find mana crystals, but do not find any. At the end of the day, Kokoro suggests they go to the police to help, but Jahy declines as she has bad memories of them. Later, Jahy gets hurt and Kokoro helps her with some plaster. The two continue to look for more mana crystals. Kokoro finds a 4-leaf clover and gives it to Jahy to give her good luck and happiness. Embarrassed, Jahy takes the clover but treasures it, and the next day wears Kokoro's clover to work. Later, Drudge's chauffeur arrives to pick up Jahy to visit Drudge's company. Jahy delights in the food and entertainment of the limo. In the human realm, Drudge has started a successful consulting company and loves charging her customers high rates. Drudge says Jahy is the reason why she is so successful and credits Jahy as being her mentor and invites Jahy to speak at a special event for her employees. Jahy dreams of praise and accepts. Jahy introduces herself as a demoness, but Drudge quickly cuts her off and ends up doing most of the speech herself. Throughout Jahy's speech, Drudge continues to speak for Jahy, and the speech gets a standing ovation. Jahy is upset that Drudge stole her moment but calms down when Drudge invites her to a party. Boss helps Jahy prepare for the party, and they go with landlady to a bathhouse to clean Jahy up. Jahy is amazed with the bathhouse as she had not had a proper bath in a long time. Jahy soon becomes upset that she still lives in a terrible apartment and accused landlady for not telling Jahy about the bathhouse earlier. At the party, Drudge reveals that her party is themed after the Dark Realm and she has recreated Dark Realm food from human ingredients. There are also life-size dolls of Jahy's former underlings, and Jahy begins to act like her time as ruler in the Dark Realm. Jahy reminisces about the Dark Realm, but at midnight is reminded that she is still in the human realm. Jahy thanks Drudge for reminding her about their home and goes back to her apartment, where, overcome with emotion, she vows to defeat the magical girl and to restore the Dark Realm for real. And this is all for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.